Mark is in North Carolina. Merry Christmas, Mark. Welcome to the Dave Ramsey Show.
Merry Christmas to you, Dave. Thank you for taking my call.
My pleasure. How can I help?
I have a question. Right now, my wife and I are renting, and we're paying for having a lot of our stuff in storage. And we'd like to buy a house, but we're going to retire in 5 years. And so the question is, when we retire, we more likely will move. And so would like, I guess, to determine what is better for us financially, to continue to rent or to buy, and then, like I said, possibly in 5 years, knowing that we likely move. The difference between paying rent and a mortgage and the down payment and everything else that goes with it.
Yeah, good question. Well, the analysis mathematically would be based on how hot the area that you are in is from a real estate perspective. Where do you live in North Carolina?
In Charlotte.
Oh, good market. Okay, good.
Mm-hmm.
So in the particular neighborhood that you were going to live in, I would drop a point there with your real estate agent and say, do me a 5-mile radius analysis of this area, okay? Or a 10-mile, I don't care, something like that. And you're looking for two statistics from the multiple listing service from your real estate agent. And you can get one of our real estate ELPs to do this for you. First thing you're looking for is, in the last 10 years, 5 years, what is the average annual appreciation rate in that 5 or 10 mile ring? How much of the house has gone up? Okay. The second thing you're looking for is DOM, days on the market, average days on the market. So let me throw you a couple numbers out. They're going to run congruent. They're not going to run opposite of each other, meaning that if you see a high appreciation rate, that means it's a hot market, and you're also going to see a short days on the market. Agreed?
Right.
Easy to sell a house in an area that's hot going up and the market's hot, right? So if you're going to see a low appreciation rate, you're usually going to see long days on the market. So if you find a 2% appreciation rate, you might find a 200-day or 270 days, 9-month time on the market, right? Days on the market. Don't buy if that's the case, because what you got 2% a year for 5 years. It's a 10% increase. Your commission off the backside will be 6 plus other expenses, and you're going to sit there 9 months trying to liquidate the stupid thing. That's not going to work. Agreed?
Yes.
But if you find that market's hot, like the county I live in, nuts. Okay? White hot. And so, you might find average days on the market be 7 days, and you might find a 7% appreciation rate. Well, 7 times 5 is a 35% increase in value during the 5 years, not counting compounding. And so if I pay 10% out in expenses, I still made 25%, and so I lived there for free and made money. And I'd want to do that one if I was going to be there 5 years. So if you were going to live in my county, you'd want to, I don't know that that's the exact numbers in my county, but if you were going to live in my county, which is hot as a firecracker, you'd want to buy for 5 years. But if you're in an area where the market's a little more sluggish, you might not even break even, and you might be sitting on a stupid thing. You can't get rid of it off the backside of the 5 years. So that's how you do the analysis. And if it's kind of in the middle and you just don't care, then I'd probably rent.
Okay. Yeah, because that's the concern is you put down the 20% and versus paying the rent.
Yeah.
And, so
you'll get the 20%
the
back and some on that if the market's going up. Agreed?
Right.
So I'm not worried about getting the down payment back, but I'm worried about when you get it back, how hard is the house to sell. And the DOM is going to really tell you that. Days on the market in that particular area that you would want to buy in. And, of course, what's that going to be associated with? It's going to be associated by the quality of the neighborhood, the quality of the school system. It's going to be associated by reasonable traffic patterns and shopping and access to restaurants and things to do and economic activity. And these are where people want to live, right? And it's known as a good neighborhood, in air quotes, right? A good neighborhood. And so you'll see that show up in the statistical analysis if you really want to dig down into it. You can kind of get a gut feel for that just by walking around in the area. You live there, you kind of know. And you hear stories from your neighbors like, oh, my God, that house sold so fast. or you can't give a house away right now. You hear these things, right? And so that's what you really want to get into and figure that out. My guess is in Charlotte, if you're in a reasonably good area of Charlotte, that you will make plenty of money in 5 years to buy. That's my guess. But check it and run the numbers, and you'll see what you find. Charlotte's very similar to Nashville in size and in demographics. Not quite as hot a city as Nashville is right now. And the neighborhood I live in is not Nashville. I live in a county south of Nashville in Franklin, which is twice as hot as Nashville. And Nashville's pretty crazy. But anyway, Charlotte's a good market. There's nothing wrong with it. It's not a dead market. It's not in the doldrums. It ought to be. You ought to make enough in 5 years to buy there, unless you just go into a bad corner over there somewhere.